Hey, everybody, it's Christine Parma, and I'm here with another training for you. It's going to be a little different than it is. Well, I guess not really. It's about mindset. And what I really wanted to tackle today, because it's been on my mind a lot, is how to go from a place of feeling like you have no choice in life or a situation into a state where you're opening up possibility for yourself and you can make empowered decisions and choices. And this is really up in my own mind because of some interpersonal work that I've been doing. And I could really see two different situations that I've been through in my life where I made different choices and had different perspectives, and the outcomes were drastically different. So, but at the same time, it's like when you're feeling stuck, when you're in that place of feeling like you have no options, you have no choices, it's like, how do you even get to the place where you can see or be aware that there are other possibilities or choices? Because I've definitely been in the place where I felt like there was no way out. There were no choices. If you have questions, comments as we go along, of course, share them in the comments below. If it's resonating with you, please, click the like or the heart button or share it with your friends. I mean, there are people, so many people out there who are feeling really, really stuck in their lives, and this was made so apparent to me on a bunch of personal calls I did with people recently, and they were just over and over and over again feeling stuck and like they had no control over the situation, they had no choices or options in the situation, and it's just not true. You always have choices, but often you just can't see them. So if you don't know who I am Christine Parma, and I help ambitious, heart-centered go-getters align themselves with the energy and the mindset that they need to create the kind of life and profitable businesses they love, both on a business level and a personal level. And, having a rich life is more than about just having the money. There are so many aspects to having a rich life, and that's what I help my clients embody and do through practical smart strategies and mindset and spiritual principles. And you can find out more about me at christineparma.com. So I want to go ahead and dive into the training for today. So just to give you some context, and I'm sorry, I'm outside today. I thought I would try it, a little bit different background. The wind's kind of blowing here and everything. The conundrum, like I said, is that when you're stuck in a place where you feel like you have no choices, then how do you get out? How do you get unstuck, right? How do you get to that place of possibility and being able to make empowered choices? And I can tell you, one example from my life was when I was in a job that I was really, really miserable in. And this was, over 10 years ago now, but I was so miserable, and I was just feeling so beat up by the situation and trapped by the situation, but I couldn't see how it could be any different. Like, I was so afraid to let go of the job for fear of losing the income, and also, the fear of what would I do next. I didn't know what I would do next. So I stayed stuck in that situation, feeling like I had no choice but to just continue on, muddle through, power through, make the best of it, have a different perspective, be more optimistic if I could, even though I was feeling like crap, in the job, and I hated it, and I was totally miserable, but I had no choice but to stay. And the truth of the matter is that you always have choice. At any point during the time that I was there, that I was feeling horribly miserable, I could have chosen to quit the job. I could have worked, not 70 hours a week. I could have done things, made different choices, and to have even a different experience inside the job. But and I ended up quitting the job because I ended up getting to a place where I was so miserable in the job that I couldn't take it anymore. And that's the thing is, our reality is based and shaped by the choices we make, the decisions we make. And the decisions and choices we make are based on emotion, by and large. So when I was stuck in that job that I was so miserable in, and I was looking at the choice of, do I stay with what I know, like this, it's miserable, but I know what it is, I know the scope of the problem, shall we say, or do I quit and then I'm totally in the unknown and I may end up getting a job that I hate even more, right? So the choice to stay was based on the emotion, based on basically the lesser of the two evils as I was judging it at that time. And, at any point in time, we are always making the best choices we can given our current awareness and understanding and resources we have at our disposal. And a lot of times that best choice looks like maintaining, the problem or staying stuck because we feel like and the other choice that we're aware of could be even worse or is even worse. So we choose to stay stuck. Whoops. Just went out for a second there. I think I'm back. Am I back? That's really weird. Okay. Hold on one seckie. I gotta go check. Okay, I'm back. Hooray. Thanks, Facebook. But it looks like it's still broadcasting. Let me check over here real quick on Facebook and make sure. Yeah, said it would resume in one moment. So yeah, Facebook with their algorithms has changed about a bunch of things, and one of the things is the way that applications like live streaming interact with them. So there you go. So I had a choice there to just keep talking and proceed as if, or to shut it down. So I'm going to continue. So when you're looking at how you make the choices, how your mind works, what are those based on? Does anybody know? Anybody want to fathom a guess how you're making the choices? Well, and I'd actually love to know, because I know there's a delay a bit, but if you're currently feeling stuck in a situation, or you've been stuck in a situation where you felt like you had no choice, and a little bit about the situation and what the outcome was if you're not currently in the situation. And if you are, I'd love to help you get unstuck. So, our choices and our decisions come from our belief sets and our perspective, and the emotions that we're having. So, I was talking about why we choose to stay stuck. Well, if we judge through our filters, through our perspective, and through the belief sets that we're carrying around, that the other option or the other choice that's available to us, or choices that are available to us, are even worse than the current situation, and there are associated emotions that are with the other choices that are even worse than what we're currently feeling, like judgment of others, or shame, or more criticism, then we will avoid making a new choice and a new decision until the current situation which you're stuck in becomes too painful that you're just like, I just don't care, and I don't care what happens, or I have to make another choice. And that's the point that I got to in this job, where I was like, I just don't care, I can't take it anymore, I surrender. And that actually got me unstuck, because I went from a place of being miserable and depressed and feeling powerless to the place on the emotional scale of essentially the void, essentially of the empty cup, where then you get, it's like the blank slate, the clean sheet of paper, where you get to now make new choices, and that will create a different reality for you. So sometimes, if you learn lessons, or have learned in the past lessons the hard way, like I have, the painful way, and I'm way better at it now. I like easy ways now. But if you learn the hard way, you can go from a place of misery, essentially, to a clean slate very quickly. When you get to the place of, I surrender, I'm releasing control of the situation because I can't see the answer. But how do you, I wanted to share with you some strategies for how you actually, you don't have to get to the point where you're so beaten down and feel so beat up that you feel like you have to just, you have to go through that pain first in order to open up possibilities or shift your current choice set. I want to give you some strategies around that, because the goal is that you're in your current situation, but through using these strategies and shifting, that you can open up and see new possibilities and opportunities that you couldn't perceive before. They're outside of your field of awareness. And if you're kind of new, or you're not that deep into mindset, how the mind works and some spiritual principles, the short of it is that you literally, there's possibilities around you. There are options. There are choices. And you can't see most of them because your mind is carrying certain beliefs, and it is filtering out everything that is not in alignment with those beliefs. So there are all these other possibilities around you, but you literally cannot become aware of them. You cannot see them. So my goal with this training is to give you some strategies for how you can actually just simply open up that awareness, if nothing else, so that you're like, oh, I thought I had, two choices, black and white here, but now I see I have 10 different options. This changes the game, right? It puts you in a much more empowered state, and it gives you, it really moves you to a place where you can then consciously make choices from a more empowered emotional place and create a different reality in your world. So who's up for that? Who wants to hear the strategies? Say yes, or click a heart button or something if you're excited about getting the strategies. So the first one, which is what I did, and how I eventually got to the place where I had the courage to quit the job, is to face the fears head on. So I knew I was scared. I knew I was stuck. I knew I was miserable and depressed, and I was trying to mentally convince myself that if I just worked harder, it would get better, but when I really looked at it and the truth of the situation, I was afraid of whatever might come after I quit my job. So I actually made a what's the worst case scenario list, essentially, and listed out all of my fears, what could be the most horrible thing that would happen to me, or all the horrible things that would happen to me if I quit this job. And, went into, I'll have no money, I won't be able to pay my bills, I'll be homeless, I'll be so embarrassed and ashamed, and what will my parents think of me, and what will people think of me? Because people all around me, who I had already hinted to that I would be, was really wanting to quit this job, they're like, what are you thinking? You worked so hard to get this job and the certifications and everything, and it's a great job, and why would you quit? You've got to be crazy. And of course, hearing other people's opinions can throw you into self-doubt about what you are feeling with your intuition to be true and the right thing for you. Sorry, been up since 2 o'clock in the morning. Got a little tickle in my throat here. So make a list of worst case scenarios. Really get honest with yourself about what are the fears here. What are the horrible consequences that you think may happen as a result of making a decision that you want to make, that really deep down in your heart you want to make. And look at what are the beliefs that are supporting that. I mean, I look at my beliefs, it was total scarcity mindset. Oh, I'm never going to find it, essentially it's I'm never going to find a job that I love. I'm going to get a worse job because there are no good jobs available, or I don't know what the heck I want to do, so I'm just going to end up with, some really crappy job that pays even less, that I hate even more. So why would I quit my current miserable job? It's very twisted thinking when you think about it. But if you make a, kind of a worst case scenario list, then you're really honest with yourself, then you can bring those fears and emotions up into your awareness so that you can heal them, so that you can at least, work through them, move beyond them, get into courageous action and act in spite of the fear, which is a different topic on how to do that. But that's essentially the first step that you can do. The second step is identifying and questioning your beliefs and assumptions about the situation. So about the choices or the options that you have. So, for me, I made the assumption that I was going to get a worse job, that I was going to be more miserable. And I had to look at that and say, is that really true? Like, is that really the for sure 100% certain outcome? Absolutely not. I mean, if you can't, you could say, oh yeah, I know, it'll be even worse than it was before if I quit my job or leave this relationship or choose to follow my joy or do what, I really want to. It'll be even worse. Well, is it really 100% true? If you can't prove that it will definitely be worse, and you can't disprove essentially that, making a different choice would be a good decision, then there's room for doubt. Essentially, doubting your own belief set, doubting your own assumptions. And when you can open a crack, in the assumptions and the belief sets with doubt, then there's the possibility for them to start to dissolve, or for you to be able to shift them. It's really people who are 100% convinced, and I know you know people like this, that of a certain belief, and it's, can't be any other way, and it can't be questioned. There is no room for doubt. Then their beliefs are not going to change. But when you can, essentially drive, a wedge into a small crack, you can start to open the crack, the limiting belief, and crack the certainty around, that assumption, those assumptions that you're making, to make room for a more empowering belief set and possibility, right? And that then can start to open up your awareness of all of the other choices and options and possibilities you have all around you. So that's strategy number 2 that you can use. Number 3 is ask yourself questions. Get into a state of curiosity. I am a naturally inquisitive person. Some might say curious. Maybe it's that too. But I'm very curious about things. And so I'm constantly asking questions. I wonder about that. How could that be? And so ask yourself these questions. So, let's stick with the job example. The question you could ask yourself is, I wonder how many jobs there are out there that I'd be really excited about. I wonder what those jobs are. How could I find out about those jobs? So you're asking questions. And when you ask your mind questions, especially empowered questions, then your mind automatically starts going and searching for the answers in your environment at a very subconscious level. Now, you may be searching for the answers consciously, but there's a lot more work going on in your mind at a subconscious level. It may be something as subtle as you ask yourself questions and then you pick up a book that you have or one off of, at a bookstore that you might not have picked up before. And in that book, there's part of the answer for you, or it shifts your perspective, and now you can see different options or possibilities, and it sends you off on a totally different trajectory than you thought was possible for you. Now, this really came into play for me, and I wasn't, at the time, over 10 years ago, I wasn't that conscious that I was doing this. And what I did is kind of a twist on the questions was how I was asking myself questions of how I could be in work and do work in which I felt joy and excitement and enthusiasm, and that was about empowering people, and all of these qualities, and emotional qualities that I really was excited about as an option for a job. I had no idea what job that would be, no clue, zero clue, but I was really thinking of, gosh, that would be so amazing to find a job like this. what kind of job could that be? I wonder about that. How could this, how could I find a job like that? And then literally a month, it was like a month and a half after I quit the miserable job, I was at an event at which a job opportunity with T. Harv Eker was announced to, essentially put together his high-end retreat program and manage it and run it and all that stuff. And I was like, bam, that was the option. That was the possibility that I had, energetically aligned myself and had been allowed to come into my awareness through shifting my perspective and opening my mind with questions and quitting the job, or else I wouldn't have been at the event. But there were several layers there. First, I had to be able to come into my awareness, and I had to then be energetically aligned with that new opportunity in order for me to even become aware of it. And then, of course, then the step becomes, after you become aware of the possibility or the new opportunity or choice, to move into action, to positive action around it, instead of getting hung up and stuck by your fear. Because for me, the instant I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do that, my, monkey mind went, what are you thinking, Christine? You are in no way qualified. Like, you've never been to a retreat. You've never run a retreat, especially one that costs as much money as these retreats are going to cost. So monkey mind, monkey mind, monkey mind. And I could have made the choice to disqualify myself and not even try. Not even try. And so many people do this. They get to the place of possibility and choice, and then they stop themselves there. Because the old belief sets kick up, the old mindset, the old, fears get kicked up again, especially if they haven't been cleared or neutralized or addressed to that point. And if your motivation for moving through that fear isn't strong enough, then you'll end up stopping yourself and you'll default into old habits and old beliefs. For me, the motivation was extremely strong, extraordinarily strong. And I kept acting in alignment with that new possibility that I wanted to have and the new reality I wanted to create for my life. Because I had been so miserable, I was like, oh my gosh, this is, it's like the life preserver that I've been waiting for that's now been thrown to me. So if you have questions or thoughts about this, please share that in the comments. I'm curious if you've ever used, any of the strategies that I've shared so far when you've been in a place of being stuck or feeling like you have no choice and to get to a place of empowered possibility. And now this fly is really curious about what I'm talking about and buzzing around my face. But that's okay. Totally cool. So ask yourself questions. That's really step number 3. And empowered questions. So you can't, an empowered, just to give you a very brief definition, an empowered question is not a yes/no question. It's really, it's deeper than that. It's a more like, how can I wonder how I can, what are all the ways in which this could show up in my life? Things like that are some examples of empowered questions. So that what you get back, the answers you get back are more than just no, yes, that sort of thing, which can also be useful at times. But more information, I think, is often better. So the 4th thing, this kind of goes along with what we just talked about, was tuning in and paying attention to your intuition. So we have all had times, and raise your hand, by hitting the like or something button, if you've ever ignored your intuition. And you're like, dang, I totally should have listened to my intuition on that one. If you've ever had that situation, yep. One of the ways in which I got so miserable in that job was by ignoring my intuition. And, the universe, God, source, whatever you want to call it, has this little way of, and it's really your emotions too, trying to get your attention. Way of getting your attention by, if you're going to ignore the small taps, the small intuitions, the small, hey, it's time to move on, advice, in my case, then they get bigger and bigger and more painful. Because eventually, everyone will arrive at a place where the pain is so great that they can't but change. They have to change. Now, sometimes that change looks like a really bad decision, or a disempowered choice of like committing suicide, or something like that when the pain is too great. And a lot of times, and hopefully, for everybody who might be watching this, it looks like moving into action by making a different decision and choice. And that's where I was in my job, that it's like I couldn't take the pain anymore. And so I was like, I surrender, I'm quitting. That was the decision that got me all over the hump, right? That got me unstuck. So, intuition, like I knew way before I was super miserable that it was time to move on. And of course, we always, we can have this fear, this little voice in our head that comes up and says, no, but what if these are all the horrible things that will happen? No, or you logic your way or rationalize your way out of listening to your intuition and acting on your intuition. Because what does acting on your intuition take? Does anybody know? I mean, like one of the main things, like if you're going to act on your intuition, why people don't act on intuition? Do you know? Put your guess in the comments. My answer to that really is it's faith. It's faith that things will be okay, that things will work out, that you'll be able to figure it out, even if you can't see the how, that you have faith in your ability, in yourself, or life itself, that you can figure it out, that life will be okay, and that even when you're acting and listening from your intuition, and your monkey mind is going 1,000 miles an hour, and you still go with the intuitive knowing that things aren't going to end in catastrophe. It's faith. So, and, I didn't really have that faith back then, and the place I was in my life, I didn't really have that faith. Now I do have that faith. But, if you don't, there are all kinds of ways for you to practice tuning into your intuition, strengthening your intuition. And then that final piece is following through by acting on your intuition. Because otherwise, if you're not acting on the intuition or making choices based on your intuition, then you're ignoring your intuition. And in my life experience, when I look back, I swear, I like every really big, what shall we say? I wouldn't say mistake, right? There's all learning opportunities. But learning opportunities that were, painful in some kind of way, it has been when I ignored my intuition. Like I knew there's something that told me, nope, that's wrong, don't do that, or yes, do this, and I didn't do it. And it has ended up didn't get the results or the outcomes that I wanted from the situation by far. So live and learn, right? Live and learn quickly and remember the lessons and then make different choices. Does that resonate with you? You can say yes in the comments if it resonates with you. And then the last strategy I wanted to share with you is when you're really stuck. And there may be times in your life, and I know certainly there have been times in mine, where I was so stuck, like it wasn't the job, it was like way, way more pain than that. I was so stuck, there was no hope. Like I was literally at that place of no hope. And I couldn't shift out of it. Like I was just so deep in it. So one of the ways that you can start to go from that place of really absolutely, it's no choice, it's no hope also, to having some possibility and in the possibility of creating a different, result in your life or in a different feeling, a different vibration, is to enlist support. Friends who you trust, who have your best interest at heart and are relatively and can look at your situation from an unattached standpoint. Coaches, healers, people who are there to help you and support you in general. They are the people who are there, and you should call on and ask for support. There are no extra credit points given out when life is over for having muddled through and borne all of the burdens on your own. And it's not like you get extra points for not asking for support or help. It's actually the other way around. You will have a much more joyous and fulfilling life by asking for support. And I know this speaking from experience because, like many, I was very much deep down in the belief of, it's somehow admirable to not ask for help and to do it yourself, and the old, pioneer mindset of you gotta be independent, and I don't need nobody, and it's weak to ask for support. I was deep in that, for sure. That's a bunch of crap. Our goodness and possibilities come through other people. I want you to really let that sink in. Possibilities come through other people. Want a new job? It's going to come through somebody else, right? Who offers you the job? Want a better house? Well, somebody's living in the house you have, or somebody's got the house that you want, and somebody's got to build it for you. So people are involved at every step. Unless you're going to go be, Grizzly Adams, and I used to watch that show growing up. I loved that show. In the woods and have your best friend be a bear. Your possibility and the richness of your life and the options that you have and your joy will come through other people. They will come to you via other people, just as you will be the channel for joy and blessings and possibility in other people's lives too. So ask for support and get their eyes on your situation, because you can't see what you don't know about. You can't see what you can't see. You don't know what you don't know. And outside eyes will have a different perspective than you, if for no other reason, because they're a different person, different life experience, different belief sets. So seek out the help that will support you in shifting from that place of no choice to empowered possibilities. So I hope you found this really valuable. There's a lot in what I shared. Probably want to go back and watch this live stream again. And if you want support in getting unstuck, or you're in a place of, feeling like no choice or a few choices, or you see certain options in front of you and possibilities, but none of them look good to you, then I would be happy to support you in being that outside set of eyes. And you can simply leave a comment under the video with the word choice, and I will message you and we'll connect about a time for us to talk and for me to support you in that way. So if you found this valuable, I would be so grateful and appreciate it if you would share it on your timeline or with your friends, with somebody who you feel like could really use hearing this message. It really has the power to change somebody's outcome, to change your outcomes when you employ these strategies and simply start functioning from a place of more possibility instead of no choice. So I will see you again next week, probably from a vacation location. Not sure what day I'll be broadcasting, or even if I'll be broadcasting. Maybe too busy. I'm having fun and living in my joy with my family. But I am thinking that I will have stuff to share and say for sure. So anyway, the next time I see you, definitely bring your questions, comments. If you're catching this on the replay, leave your questions and comments, and I will come back and reply to you personally. And until then, till I see you next time, wishing you many, many blessings, and always shine your light brilliantly. Take care.